Hey, okay, so you've decided you would like to be in a home-based business, and you looked around on the internet, you've Googled it, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh my goodness, there's hundreds. What do I do? Why did I even decide to do this? And who should I pick? Because there's so many of them. What are the qualifications for this? Have I gotten in over my head? The answer is no, you haven't. Of course, a home-based business is a really great opportunity. And so what are the next steps for you to choose? Well, there's 5 essential questions that you should ask yourself if you're going to start in a company. And the reason you want to ask yourself these is because you want to make sure you're in the right company. You want to make sure it's a right fit for you and that you can actually do this, because it is, and let me make this very clear, it is a job. Make no mistake, any home-based business is just that. The word business means it's going to be a business. It's as if you are opening up a store without the overhead. You are not going to have to pay for all the advertising. You're not going to have to pay for all the products. Normally, that is the case. Sometimes some companies do require that you do purchase products and then resell those products. So make sure what you're getting into. You also want to make sure what actually you're doing. So let's go through the 5 essential questions that you should ask yourself before you join any home-based business. Number 1, you want to get involved with an established company. You want to make sure that it has been in business over 5 years, at least. That it has a better than advantage startup qualifications, that you look and see, are they financially stable? Do they follow the rules and regulations that the government has set? Are they compliant? Now, what does that mean? The Federal Trade Commission actually has standards that are set. So you want to make sure that the company that you're in is Federal Trade Commission compliant. You want to make sure that they have been in business and that they are not just a P.O. box. Because if they are like a P.O. box, that's not actually a home-based business. And there are actual businesses that are out there that are completely, they've been in business for a long time. And they have a standard method of operation that is very faithful to the government's rules and regulations. But you have to find those companies, and you want to make sure that you're in one. So that's the first step. Number 2, who is on the leadership team? Know who is running your company. Do they have prior marketing experience, and do they have business experience? Do they have a proven method of operating? And the reason you want to do that is simply because, well, let's say this. Let's say you start in a business and we have a recession or we have a problem, and all companies, I don't care what company it is, will go up and will go down. That's just the way business is. It goes up and then it goes back down. And it doesn't matter what company it is. The stock market itself goes up and down. So this is what you need to make sure, that when you are in a business and you are in a company, that the people who run it have anticipated that they know what they're going to do when the company goes down. And are they using the upswing to actually make sure that when it goes down, you stay stable, that you and the company especially make sure that it is going to be able to run effectively, just because they've already prepared for that. They've already mentally know that. So if they have a good business sense, they know what they're doing, then they can run it effectively. And you won't be going up and down, and you can manage to keep going and operating smoothly. Number 3, you want to understand what is your compensation structure. And the reason I ask that is, or say that basically, is because you want to understand how you're getting paid. If you don't understand how you're getting paid and how other people on your team will get paid, then you're not sure how you're getting your money. You're not sure where that money is coming from or how you're getting it. There are generally 4 types of compensation plans or compensation structures. There's a binary, there is a breakaway plan, there's a unilevel, and there is a forced matrix. So you want to make sure which one you're on so that you are making sure that you and your team, those who are on your team with you, are getting their money and how they're getting it. Most companies have to have a certain level that they keep for themselves in order for the company to run smoothly. And why do I say that? Because everybody's like, oh, you got to pay me, I'm putting in the work. Okay, well, that is true. If you're doing the work, then you should getting paid. But the company manufactures the product, and the company has to be compliant with the government. So there is a certain amount that the company has to keep financially solid. And you want them to keep that because you want the company to stay in business. So you need to make sure what level you're getting and how you're getting it. Okay, number 4. How much is the initial startup? Why do you want to know that? Because you want to know how much you're putting in there. You want to know how much is going out of your pocket, how much is going to be monthly going out of your pocket in order to be sustainable. Okay, you want to know your upfront costs and any future costs, which, like I just said, some companies will even charge you a yearly fee to be in their company. Some of them just require a startup kit and maybe require you to purchase a minimum amount every month. And you want to know what you're going to have to put in order to make money back and what is the requirements. Okay, number 5. And this one to me is almost as important as number 1. Because the others, like, you have to know those. But number 1, you have to know how long they've been in business and you have to know who's running it. But you need to know what kind of training that there is available to you. Where you can access training in whatever product it is. Then you want to know where you can get support. If you have a question, if you need to ask something, where do you get support? That is hugely important because you don't want to be out there and all of a sudden, here you've got this whole website set up or whatever it is that you have set up, and then you're like stuck. You've got to be able to make sure that you can go to step number 2 and say, okay, I'm doing this now. How do I make money on this? How do I access help? And somebody somewhere is going to ask you a question and you're not going to know the answer because you don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. And how are you going to get that question answered? No, you don't need to be an expert on everything because there are people who are pretty much experts, but even they have questions and even they get asked things that they don't have an answer to. So nobody is the all above everything knowing answer. So, you need to know where you can get support. These are the top 5 things to know about any at-home business. And you want to make sure that you ask these 5. If you would like to, you can reach out to me and I can actually send these to you if you're thinking of starting a home-based business. And don't get me wrong, I think a home-based business is one of the best things you can do for yourself. Even if it's not your main steady sport of income, even if you're doing it as a side business to fund your vacations, or even if you're doing it as a side business to fund your kids' little league or something like that, because it does require a lot to have your kids in sports. Whatever it is your reason, or maybe you want to make it your main source of income now or in the future. Whatever your reason, there are these 5 steps that you should look into very carefully. And here's a quick recap of the 5 steps. Number 1, you want to know how long the company has been in business, because you want to make sure that you are getting in a company that knows what they're doing. Number 2, you want to know who is the leadership of the company, and do they have the skills to keep the company running, and do they have the business sense to keep the company running. Number 3, what is your compensation plan? You want to make sure that you know what the compensation plan is. How are you getting paid? Number 4, you want to know how much is your initial startup costs. Number 5, what kind of training and support is available to you and to your teammates that you actually sign up or have on board with you. So those are the 5 things. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can either message me off of YouTube, or my email is lowercase JODYCOLLINS, the number 7 at iCloud.com. So I hope this has been helpful, and thank you very much. Bye.